Hello and good morning and welcome to Google Digital Garage. My name is Anthea and I'm one of the trainers for Google's free skills training program, Google Digital Garage. I'm not alone today. I also have our moderator, Na, who is based in today's chat. You'll notice Na by the blue spanner next to her name, and Na will be interacting with you. She'll be answering questions and also passing some questions along as we go through and pause through today's session. So please do make sure that you are interacting with her. Let us know, where are you tuning in from and what are you hoping to get out of today's session. Now, today's session is all about building your personal brand online. How do you get in front of the people that you want to market your products and services to and become a household name? So we'll be covering that in today's session, but I want to start off by going through a few of the housekeeping tips that are going to help make sure that today's session runs as smoothly as possible. So if you're having any issues throughout today's session with viewing or even hearing me, please do refresh your page. That solves most of the problems. And then if you're still having some other issues, it might be worth closing down your browser or whatever device you're using or app you're using, and then come back in using the same link, and that should enable you to jump straight back in. If you would like to interact with us today by dropping in comments, asking questions, then please make sure that you are logged into your YouTube account. If you don't have an account, it's very easy to get one. Just click on the button within the chat box, set up a YouTube account, and you'll be back here in a matter of minutes. We'll be pausing throughout today's session to take questions, so don't feel you have to wait until we pause to ask questions. Throw them in as soon as they come up, and Na will be collating them, answering some of those, and also passing some on so that we can have a discussion around that, which will be useful for everybody watching. Now, in addition to this, just be aware that this session is going to be available for another 24 hours. So after today, if there's anything you miss or anything you want to go back over, feel free to use the same link to watch the replay. Now, we're running this session in addition to a variety of other webinars, so please do visit the Google Digital Garage website, and you'll find a range of other sessions such as digital marketing strategy, creating a CV, creating YouTube videos, social media, and everything in between. And then that will enable you to sign up for other sessions and join us in the same way that you are now. And if you're based in the UK, we also have a number of sessions that are running face-to-face. So again, just go onto our website and see which sessions may be running nearby and sign up to that so we can get and meet you in person. So that's the housekeeping done. Let's get started with building your personal brand online. So today we're going to be breaking this session down. We're going to be breaking this session down into 3 parts. The first is to really understand your online presence and your personal brand. So we're going to help you define your personal brand and how we identify good personal branding. We're going to help you build your brand online, from your platform choice to the content type to writing all important bio. And then lastly, we'll look at increasing your visibility online. So how do you first grow a network, then find and post relevant content, and then turn those online connection into offline opportunities? So let's get started with defining a brand. And quick hello to Kasan, who is dialing in from Bangladesh. Thank you for joining us today. Drop in the chat, let us know where you're dialing in from and what you're hoping to get out of today's session. If you are based in the UK and you run a small business or a charity, we have free one-to-one mentoring. Now, especially when you are a small business owner, it can be really challenging and feel really isolating to be working on your business by yourself. One-to-one mentoring that we offer enables you to talk with someone like me or Na or one of our other colleagues to just bounce ideas off and to seek some advice on how you can take that next step in your business. So visit our website and sign up for one-to-one mentoring if you are based in the UK, and you'll spend an hour on Google Meet just talking to someone who can find out what your challenges are and supply some resources and some suggestions and advice to help you take that next step forward. Understanding your online presence and personal brand. So let us know in the chat, are there any particular brands that you buy regularly? And if so, why do you buy that brand? And what would you say defines a brand? Let us know. Your online presence is everything that you do online. So think about, what is your online presence? Think about what you have done online. What kind of things have you done? Where have you done them? And do you constitute any of that to a brand? How do you define that? Is this based on you posting things online, or is it a brand posting things online? We really need to understand what the difference is. So think about what your online presence includes. This is any content that you have created. So, maybe you've done the work of developing your personal brand, but your online presence isn't limited to just a singular location like your website or social media profile. But your online presence includes lots of search results that are not your social media profile. So this is essentially your digital footprint. If you think about walking along a beach, every time you place your foot in the sand, you leave a footprint. And that's what you do when you're online. So when I say content created by you, this is things that you have done intentionally. You've put photos up on your Instagram, you've put statuses up in your Snapchat, you've used videos on YouTube. You have intentionally put that content out there. Now, there's also content that you're tagged in. Let's say you went out with some friends and they've taken photographs or videos or other things like that. Maybe you went to a conference or an event and you met people there. A lot of people tend to tag other people. Now, that's not content that you put up there. It's not even content you asked to be put up there, but now you're associated to it. So your online presence is now defined by content that other people have tagged you in it. So the question is, are those things that you want to be associated with? Some of those photos could be fine, but what about the message that the other person is giving? Does that align to you and what you stand for? Then there's also your internet activity. So these are things like cookies, your browsing history, and also your online purchases. So where have you visited? What have you bought? What cookies have you accepted as you've navigated around the internet? So your digital footprint is part of your online presence, and left unchecked could be seen by anyone searching your name on search engines. So let us know, have you ever been tagged in something that you've had to ask somebody to remove? I know I have, and it's not that it was malicious, it's that they wanted to promote themselves. So they tagged me in hoping that my audience would see their content, but it's not something that I necessarily believed in, and it doesn't represent my brand. And this is why content that you are tagged in can also influence your online presence. So what are some tips that you can use for cleaning up your online presence? The best thing to do is take the time to review your wider online presence to make sure that your digital footprint reflects the best of you. So go online, delete profiles or channels that you don't use anymore. De-tag or request removal of any third-party content that concerns you, especially if it doesn't align to your message or your values. Keep a private profile and make a public profile to make sure you know who is seeing your content. And when you have a private profile, this is, your private life. Only people that you have accepted as friends can see that content. And then your public profile is what's related to your work or your line of business. And then that can be open to anyone because you want to increase your exposure and also your visibility. So prune that content that shows up on the first 2 pages. So if you search your name on Google, Look at all of the results that come back on those first 2 pages and start looking through those and see whether or not those things can be deleted, detagged, or anything in between, or updated. There are a few different tools that you can use to help you clean, monitor, and privatize your browsing experience. So Google Alerts it tracks the mention of your name or information about news or products and emails you any updates. So I'm not sure if you want to do this immediately, but you can go to Google Alerts and then you put your name down and then specify the frequency you want to be emailed. What that does is every time that particular phrase or name is mentioned, Google will email you, which then allows you to go and view the source of that information and then determine whether or not that's something that affects you or not. Social Mention is a simple tool that you can use, social media search tool that aggregates user-generated content from across the internet into a single stream of information. So essentially, it collects all of the information and puts it in one place. And that helps you to track and measure what people are saying about you, your brand, anywhere in the world in real time. So both of those links will be shared with you, Google Alerts and also Social Mention. So when does an online presence become a personal brand? When does an online presence become a personal brand? A personal brand identifies who you are and how you differentiate yourself from your peers. So the difference between a brand and a personal brand is that your product is your skills and your strength. The personal brand is how you represent yourself, and strong personal brands allow you to build your career off what you've done before. So if you think of a celebrity or a well-known personality and think of how would you describe their personal brand? And how do they leverage their personal brand? If you think about someone like Madonna, she's one of the highest selling female artists of all time and has a dedicated fan base for the past 30 years. And her diva attitude is actually part of her brand. People know her for that. Oprah is a talk show host, actress, and owner of her own production company. And her opinions carry such weight that if she likes a book, that book will sell out. So she is very much an influencer. The Dalai Lama, despite living in exile, has managed to be an inspirational figure worldwide. So we're not saying that you have to be a celebrity, that you have to constantly be, in the public eye. It's just there's something about you that is very clear about who you are, what you stand for, and how you differ from everyone else. And if you stay true to that, people will start to know exactly who you are and can spot you from anywhere, and your name builds credibility. So remember that you can use your brand to leverage offline opportunities. And here are a couple of examples. Sarah trained as a professional coach in 2010 and then started vlogging fitness videos and workouts online. So now she gets paid by fitness brands to wear their clothing and use their equipment when she's vlogging. So she's now influencing what people buy based on something that she was already doing online. On the right-hand side, Sheena started a blog in 2016 just to collate, images of food that she was posting on social media. And after setting up a blog, it grew interest, and she was able to receive questions and letters off her fans, and they requested specific recommendations. And now it receives invitations from local restaurants to go and try their food in return for a review on her blog. So she's getting to eat at all of these lovely restaurants for free, and her work or her offline opportunity from that is just writing a blog, which is something she normally does. So getting offline opportunities doesn't have to be much different from what you're already doing, but using your online brand enables people to see how you could potentially influence an audience that they might be trying to tap into. It doesn't matter if you want to be an influencer or not, your personal brand matters. Online personal branding is becoming more important to more people as people use the internet to make their decisions. So some people are using the internet to make decisions on who to hire. So 69% of them wouldn't check a potential candidate's social media when making decisions around hiring. So they would check. 1 in 5 have said that they haven't hired someone because of something that they found. Now imagine if you've got things on the internet and you're trying to go and, get this particular job, and then something that you've done, something that you've been tagged in, something that you've created is on the internet and contradicts who you say you are or what skill set you have. You may not get a job simply because of your online presence. Some people are making decisions around relationships based on what they find online. 89% of consumers, 33 to 54, are trusting online reviews as much as personal recommendations. So you've got people who are buying things based on online reviews, and you've got people who are getting into relationships based on online reviews. So for American dating app users, 77% said they have researched a date online before meeting face-to-face, and 40% said that they always do it. So it's so interesting what you can find out about a person online and how that is used to shape who somebody believes you are, which is why it's so important to ensure that what you do put online reflects who you truly are. Now, a goal gives a brand purpose. What are you here for? What are you trying to achieve? What are you doing? So what do you think the goal of these personal trainers are? Drop in the chat and let us know. So for personal trainer A, they are results driven, and they use social endorsements and hardcore workouts to show that they get results. So for them, it's all about satisfaction. They want authentic social endorsements. They want to demonstrate their skill and expertise, and they want to use a good reach to increase their popularity. Now, B is focused on quality. They've got a very professional website. They have got customer reviews on there, and they've got multiple services. C is more of a relatable personal trainer that focuses on credibility. He shares photos of him enjoying himself, and that he will motivate you, but not as intensely as maybe personal trainer A. So having that credibility and just humanizing the experience means that there are going to be different people who are interested in different businesses, right? And the reasons that they are doing that are based on their own needs, not necessarily what's being offered. So it's all about ensuring that you are clear about what kind of brand you are and what kind of target audience you are trying to serve, so that when they come across you, they know whether or not you might be somebody that they want to do business with. And adding a goal to your profile can really make a difference, especially in the context of working. So you can see how different a profile can look when we add a goal. So for this particular example, we've got Fatima, who uses LinkedIn occasionally to find roles and also for personal use. So for Fatima, in the second example, she has a goal. What is it? She's setting herself up as a thought leader through changing her copy and her activity. So this is why it's so important to think about the different places you're in. So this is LinkedIn. What do you say? What does your profile say about you? What does the bio say about you? How does it showcase your experience, your skills, give you credibility? Fatima has tailored towards her clients and recruiters, and using types of language to set out her expertise and linking the relevant content to shows that she has demonstrated her expertise, and that helps her stand out from other similar profiles. She's also specifically said that she is open to job opportunities, which means that anybody who is looking to recruit can search for her, but she would also appear in recruiters' job searches on LinkedIn. So again, just adding a goal and being purposeful about the different spaces and platforms that you're in makes it very clear who you are, what you stand for, and who you are trying to interact with. Okay, so there's a question from Magsy. Yes, Google Photos have access to your phone gallery. I think for all, yes, so Nars already answered this question. I think for most apps where you have photos in general, they usually request the permission to go into your drive, your storage area. And once they have access to your storage area, that includes your gallery. So any images you have on your phone, you have granted them permission to. If that's something that maybe you did by mistake, go and have a look at the settings for that app and see if you can deny access, and then it won't have access directly to your gallery. I don't believe there are any other questions, so we will move on. Do remember to throw your comments and your questions into the chat, and we will pick them up on the next pause. Let's look at how you build your brand online. So we're going to start with a clear goal, a target audience, and a content plan. So in other words, what is it you want to achieve? Who do you need to engage with to achieve it? And what are you sharing to get those people interested in your brand? First thing is that you need to decide your goal. And remember that a goal needs to contain something that you can track. For example, a specific job, getting X number of followers, finding X number of clients. And this is so that you can track your success. You should be able, once you've achieved your goal or know that you've achieved your goal, to be able to say, yes. Have I done this? Yes. And being very clear about it helps you to do that. If you have to question it, then the goal is not clear enough. So how do you go about defining your goal? So think about this sentence here. I want to present myself online because I want to. So this is a good way to think about your goals. What is your goal? How do you want to present yourself online? And why do you want to do that? This is an opportunity for you then to consider your metric for success and then repeat the activity. So I want to present myself like a thought leader because I want to deliver leadership and management training programs. So for me to develop leadership and management training programs, I want to set myself apart by being a thought leader who does things differently. I'll know when I have been successful when I have acquired 3 new clients in the next 6 months. This is just an example. And so again, once you know what it is you want to do, why you want to do it, you then know to include your success measure so you can tick off and decide whether or not you are on track when you're monitoring or you've completed it when that time comes. So the more detail that you can put into the goal, the better. The goal needs to be as specific as possible, as I said. So ask yourself, in what? So the examples that we gave earlier were too generic. I want to find a new job, but in what? Or where? You want to grow a community, in what? You want to find new clients, for what? So it's really important for you to be specific about what it is that you are trying to achieve. So for example, I would like to get more followers of my digital marketing LinkedIn account through publishing social media best practice to small businesses with no social media presence. I will very easily and clearly be able to say that I've achieved that or not. Because if I do not get more followers through publishing social media best practice and the followers are not small businesses without a social media presence, then I've not achieved that goal. So then we need to build out who are we trying to interact with. So who's the target audience? Your goal should signpost a specific group that you need to target. So if it's jobs, then it needs to be recruiters. If it's personal trainers, then you're looking for clients. So who do I need to reach to make my goal come true? Who and how can you engage with them? So I know what I want to do, but who do I need to do that with? So think about it. What's their age? The more we know about someone or a group of people, the easier it's going to be to find, to reach, and engage with them. And I know there are times where you think with whatever type of business it is that you are trying to grow or already working in, someone will ask you the question, who do you help? And you know, because you want to help everyone, your response is, I can help everyone. But you're not helping everyone by trying to help everyone. You need to be specific. And the reason is because if you are talking to an entire crowd of people, how do the people within that crowd know that you are speaking directly to them? People with different ages, different genders, different locations, who have different accounts, they will all have different challenges. So when you're speaking to the problems that they experience, none of them are going to think, ooh, that's me, because you're making it too generic. You want to be saying, I'm dealing with 35 to 45-year-old men who are based in London and have an account on LinkedIn. They like this, they dislike that, they read this, they care about that, and they spend money on this. If I am a 35 to 45-year-old man based in London with an account on LinkedIn, I immediately know that you are talking to me. If I'm a 22-year-old woman who's on Instagram based in Birmingham, I'm not turning around. And yes, that does mean that there are an audience that you will never tap into, but that's okay. With 7.7 billion people in the world, there are enough businesses that help everyone together. So you need to focus on the particular audience that you want to help with your products and services. If, for example, I wanted to build a community of oboe enthusiasts, my target audience would start with oboe players, classical fans, and people who visit the orchestra. You can then research information about the classical music industry to find out more on who'd be interested in oboes. So again, 42% would likely to be age 40 to 60. The average price to visit the orchestra is £20 per ticket. So therefore, your target audience has disposable income. So learning more about your target audience helps you to understand them and also their spending habits, where they go for information, how they make decisions, and you can utilize all of that in your content. So here are a few tools that you can use to find your target audience. If you've already got a social media presence on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram, there are a lot of tools that you can use to see who is already interacting with your content. So Page Insights is always a good opportunity. It's free for everyone and enables you to look. So if you're on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, there is an insights area that shows who has been visiting your account. But there are also some other similar tools that exist on social media platforms. So Audience Finder, this is a good starting point as it offers free UK-based analytics on the UK cultural landscape, especially useful if you're hoping to run events through your brand. So what kind of audiences might my products and services be useful for? Then you've got social media business page profiles. So you've got Instagram for business, you've got LinkedIn, etc. These are more business focused or professional focused. And anyone can convert their Instagram account into a business account. And once it's a business account, it starts to show you analytics like age range, population, and you can also use hashtags to build a community of people who are looking for similar things. On LinkedIn, you have the option to create a company page. So again, that then gives you analytics. We've mentioned Page Insights, and then you have a people search on LinkedIn, which enables you to look for people based on age, location, company, job title, skills. So once you identify some key people that you might want to interact with, you can start adding them to your network. And it's really recommended for finding an audience of potential employees or employers. So some of the specialist platforms can save you time and also effort. So what platforms would you use to achieve these goals? The rule of thumb is to choose the platform where your audience is most engaged. So don't go for the thing that you really want to do. Go for the platform that your audience is most likely to be on. A good shortcut would be checking if there's a specialist platform that you can promote yourself on. For example, if you're into arts and crafts, you could try Etsy, Not on the High Street, Facebook, Marketplace. Again, these are all specialist platforms. And if you're looking for a job, maybe in a startup, then you could go to angel.co or work in startups. If you're looking for freelance content creation, you can use things like People Per Hour or Upwork. So there's always places that you can go to search for the people that you're looking for. And there's some other examples online. So when you sit on the screen, so if you want to meet fellow writers who are looking to meet up, you could go on a platform such as Meetup. That generally tends to be for hobbyists. So that's a really great place for you to find people who are interested in similar things, join a group, and then meet up with them. If you're selling homemade jewelry, your audience is people looking to buy homemade jewelry, and therefore you could go on places like Instagram, Facebook, Etsy, that kind of thing. If you're trying to find building contracts, then your audience are people who need building work done. So there are the local platforms, the Checkatrade type thing. You could also even go onto LinkedIn if your building contracts are more corporate or professional. But if it's home-based, domestic, then yes, you can go onto the Facebooks, Checkatrade, and all of those kind of things. So whatever it is that you're offering, there is always somewhere that you can go to find your audience. Let us know which of these words. Choose 3 words from this list or others. If you don't see anything here that resonates with you, choose 3 words that represent your brand personality and drop those into the chat. What 3 of these words represent your brand personality? Now, your brand personality is essentially the thing people remember or know about you. They know that if they come across a certain brand, that they're likely to be fun or playful, serious, professional. It's a way of it's like when you describe a person, you know a certain type of person because of their personality, and you'll know a brand because of their personality. When you think of different types of trainers, you think like, say, for example, Adidas. They're more playful. It's more sporty. They're more fun. They like colors, interesting designs. And then you've got, if you're comparing shoes, like Clarks, the shoes, they're a lot more serious, but they're comfortable. So the colors are different. And again, that just the way that they use colors, the designs that they use, the fonts that they use, all of these things indicate what brand personality that they have. So let us know in the chat, what are your 3 words that represent your brand personality? The next step is for you to create a handle and also a biography. So thinking about your brand personality, what does your handle say about you? It needs to be unique. It needs to be easy to remember, and try and avoid using numbers. So here is a very clear example at Fatima_Allen. It's her name. She is the brand, and it's something that people are likely to remember. The profile biography is a summary of your brand and sits beneath your handle. So your bio should essentially summarize what you offer, your expertise, and what you want your audience to do. So that is normally what we classify as a call to action. So we want you to have these things so that you can excite them about you. So consider these 3 things. What is your offer? Is it customer service manager from Manchester who's interested in content marketing opportunities? What's your expertise? An Open University graduate in English literature, regular contributor to BuzzFeed and HuffPost community. And what's the call to action? New ideas or opportunities, email Fatima Allen at Gmail. So just in this short space, she's managed to present her offer, present her expertise, and give a very clear call to action, which means that whenever somebody who is looking for someone like Fatima comes across her profile, they know exactly what to do. Content consistency builds trust. Your biography is the first thing that people will read when they arrive on your profile. So all of your content that you share and create needs to be consistent with these goals and values. Remember that online presence. You want the story of you being online to be completely consistent with who you say you are. So choose photos that will complement your handle. And let us know what do you think each business represents. Now, the first photo is talking about that health doctor. It's fine. It's a picture of food. The food looks colourful, looks interesting, and looks very healthy. The one on the right is John Breadmaker. It's a photo of someone kneading bread. It's clear, it looks like it's work in progress behind the scenes. We get it. You're making bread. Now, I love cakes. What is this about? Is it about music or is it about cakes? Now, the handle is very clear that it's about cakes, but the imagery that's used to complement it contradicts it. It has somebody playing a guitar. Now, if it happened to be a guitarist eating a cake, then that would be a completely different story. But here it's just showing a completely different image. And so, again, this is a reason why it's so important for your imagery to match your handle. And so we've got Arjit mentioning uniqueness, creativity, and ease for her brand, for his brand personality. Thank you for sharing. So whenever Arjit is creating content, having those 3 words in the back of his mind are always going to ensure that he puts out content that relates to that. It's unique, it's creative, and it's not something that you have to struggle to either create or to comprehend. Thanks for sharing. So another example is going back to Sheena. So this is about consistency. An influencer profile, and she's following best practice. So you can see the offer, you can see the expertise, and you can see that the call to action is clearly outlined, and all of the elements of the profile point back to the bio. So there is a handle, there is a photo, and the content all relates to London vegan, recipe creator, cookbook, fitness and Muay Thai for fun, and find on YouTube. So all of this information all relates to things that are already in the bio. So now it's your turn. Think about what skills, strengths, and experience that you want to highlight, what your target audience want to hear. And in the next I'll give you 2 minutes, just as we're going into questions, to start writing your bio. What's your offer? What's your expertise? And what's your call to action? So bios generally should be about 280 characters. So just try and think about how you can get all of those pieces together within that amount of space. So if you do manage to write your bio, please do put it into the chat. We'd be excited to hear about that. Any questions? Okay. Arjit is saying, how can we choose amongst the right category of our brand within branding and entrepreneurship if it's an online merchandise company? I'm not 100% sure what you mean by the category of your brand. So your personal brand, can you let me know, are you referring to the target audience? Because your personal brand, to a degree, sits outside your products and services. Your personal brand is who you are and what you stand for. And then the products and services that you then offer are an extension of that. So if you're an online merchandise company, because remember, the thing that you do could then be taken offline. So you're not limiting yourself to just being an online merchandise company, because the example that we had earlier was that somebody was doing online vlogging and then they were then paid to go to eat at local restaurants and provide blogs, right? So you're not limiting yourself by the products and services you offer. You have a brand first, and your brand is what puts out the the products and services as an extension of that. So you choose whatever is right for you. If you are online and you want people to remember you, what is it you want them to remember? What is it you stand for? What is it that you are online for in the first place? Why is it that your business exists? And what is it that separates you from others? So that's not a question that I can answer specifically, but I'll throw those questions back to you so that you can think about that. What is your personal brand? What's your personality? You've got those 3 words. So what does uniqueness, creativity, and ease say about you and how you operate? If you think about other brands out there, Google, for example, when people see the colors, they immediately know it's Google. And there are certain things that they associate with Google. Before Google puts out another service or a product, they already have a thought about who Google is and what that means to them. So for your brand, that's what you're doing. You're building that relationship with your customers so that they understand who you are and what you stand for and what kind of people you help. And therefore, from that, any products or services that you put out aligns to the people that you said you help and for the reasons that you've already said. So I hope that answers your question. A bit of food for thought there before you figure out what that really means to you and why you're doing it. And again, just remember that the products and services that you are offering are an extension of your brand and don't define your brand. It's the other way around. Just seeing your bio come through, Arjit. Looks brilliant. One thing I would add to that is, what's your call to action? So if someone has now read your bio on LinkedIn or something else, what is it you want them to do after that? And that indicates, the example that we had before was she wanted people who were looking for collaboration or whatever it was to email her. So what's your call to action? Are they going to a website? Do you want to connect with other businesses? Are you looking for employees or an employer? Just round that off with a call to action. So lastly, let's look at increasing your online visibility. So let's increase the chance of people finding us, right? So the online space is so vast, it's unbelievable. And this is why you have to be very specific about who you are and telling people that, because there is so much information. If they come across your profile, they don't have time to make assumptions. They just want to be given all of the information and know exactly who you are, what you do, and how they can connect with you. So make sure that you complete your profile. So recruiters on LinkedIn use a product called Recruiter, which allows them to search by job title, location, and skills. So when you complete your profile, it means that when they search for someone with your skills and experience, you're more likely to come up. Same goes for Facebook and Instagram. The more information you have about your business or brand, the more likely you will appear in search if someone is using the relevant keywords to your brand or business. So just make sure, again, if you've got all of these things in place, just do a review. Is your job title, your location, your skill set, are these things up to date? If people search for your desired job title, will they find you? Also think about recommendations. Giving recommendation and endorsements notifies the user, which in turn actually encourages them to recommend you or endorse you back. So endorsements are a powerful tool in shaping your brand. So on other social sites, recommendations might come in the form of tags or aligned content from affiliated brands or businesses. And then lastly, think about backlinking or linking other profiles. So you may be on LinkedIn, but what about if you direct people to your YouTube page? Or what if you move people to your website? Or maybe there's another social media platform that you're using, because Sometimes your audience are in multiple places. Sometimes they only know you in one. So just make sure that people are aware that you exist on other platforms and use that to expand your network. And it also adds credibility to your achievements as well. So a few tips to grow your network then. Post unique, higher quality content. All right, it might seem a bit obvious, but this is really, really crucial. Brands can't get away with publishing unoriginal content. There's so much content online now. People have become a lot more demanding. So it's essential that you find a unique voice for your brand. How does your content differ from everything else that's out there? How does it differ from your competitors? And it doesn't have to be, a jaw-dropping photo or a thought-provoking caption, but just think about something that can help you stand out and your brand. Give your followers something that they will want to share. Shareable content will give you the best marketing ever. I know for me, I'm not on TikTok specifically, but I see a huge, probably 80% of the videos I get sent are from TikTok. So it's a very good marketing tool to have those videos, to have those posts that are shareable, because people will take them off of those platforms and take them to a wider audience that you may not even be aware of. So that helps people, give them something that they'll want to come back for more. So every time you post a picture, put yourself in the shoes of your buyer persona, the target audience, and ask, is this something that I would want to share if I was them? If the answer is no, don't post it. If the answer is yes, go ahead. Next, you want to connect with your audience. At the end of the day, this is what it's all about. Responding to comments, even if it's just to say something like thank you. It's a simple way to make your brand appear more personable. So you don't want to post something and then don't respond to any comments, because then it makes it feel like maybe it's just a robot posting posts and there's no humans behind it. So keep boosting your following by liking and commenting on pictures posted by your target audience, and follow users that are following accounts similar to yours. So a lot of the most successful brands on Instagram rely on visually captivating, compelling stories to connect with their audience. And that could be sharing a photo accompanied by an interesting and unique quotation. It could be providing fascinating historical facts, or even just posting behind the scenes glance at your company. There are a number of different ways that you can do that. But again, just make sure that the narrative is directly correlated with your brand's values and mission. Be consistent. According to Buffer, major brands post an average of 1.5 times per day to Instagram. When you're posting frequently, that can be fine if your audience want that. If you are posting to a point that you're bombarding people, it can become annoying and you can lose followers. So think about everything to make sure that what you are doing is consistent but not overbearing. Think about the captions, the filters, the angles, the colors, the lighting, and develop a unique visual identity so that when users see your photos, they immediately recognize your brand. And then lastly, post at least once a day will increase your chances of being seen by your community. Posting 2 to 5 times a day, but if that seems overwhelming, start by posting at least once a day. And definitely don't post for the sake of posting. So don't post 5 things that you had to just throw together because you wanted to post 5 times. Instead, post one really meaningful thing, and that will take you a lot further than 5 meaningless things. Some additional tips to grow your network: comment, like, and react to others' posts. We've mentioned this. Figure out what your users are interested in and show up in those places. There's an interesting fact. In the study of thousands of users, Twitter found that when a business responds to someone who tweeted them, that person will be willing to spend more money on the same product in the future. You never know. Be visual, use images and video. An image can take up more space in the newsfeed, and an interesting image can spark more likes, comments, and shares. So when people are engaging with your content, more people have a chance to see your content. And then lastly, use networking tools to connect. So find thought leaders in your network. BuzzSumo ranks content and people by the amount of retweets and shares in its network and shows you trending content. So find interesting and relevant content to share. Feedly also helps you to select topics that interest you, and it also shows you curated feed. And then Pocket lets you add any topic from your browser or content apps to read later, i.e. offline. So there's a variety of different ways that you can use networking tools to connect. Use your online network to find new opportunities. So if you happen to be a job seeker, the tips that we've outlined previously can apply to brands in both a business and a personal context. So when you're building your brand, it doesn't have to be for business. So you can use that for somebody who is looking to get a job, because they still want to know, who are you? What are your values? What does all of that relate to? Are you consistent with how you show up? What's your online presence like? And again, if you're trying to make a brand for yourself, you could build a following, which means more followers equals more credibility. To build trust and companionship means that you get access to more opportunities. So creating shareable content for your brand, again, putting yourself in your target audience's shoes. What would I want to share? Is what I'm about to post potentially share worthy for someone else? So main thing is to think about adding imagery. There's some statistics here that shows you what's the increase based on what you're doing. So if you're adding images with your updates, there's more likely to be 150% more retweets. If you've got photos with people's faces on there, then 38% you're likely to get more likes. And if you're using live, broadcasted, streamed videos, 3 times more views than traditional videos. So just think about these stats and how you can incorporate imagery into the content that you're already choosing to create. Start to think about developing a look and feel. Now, again, when you think about branding, you also think about colors and fonts. So do you want to use a particular color? So for example, during the summer, you might want to use more yellows and oranges and reds in your colors. And then in the autumn and winter months, you might want to use more burgundy, blues and grays for whatever reason. So be consistent, have a look and a feel. So again, when people see your images, they already get a feeling that they know it's you because of the consistency that you've been showing up with. So there are apps like VSCO or Photoshop that can help you make those images look more consistent, and also edit your images, especially if you're creating quotes or memes. Also consider some interactive media. So polls are really good for getting information. So a lot of the time when people say they don't know enough about their target audience, create a poll, ask a question. The people who interact with that poll will give you some valuable information about what they're interested in, depending on what kind of question that you have. So you can use polls on Instagram stories and also Twitter. You can use stories, which range from 15 seconds up to a minute, depending on platform. And this is a great way to give people insight into something without creating a permanent post. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchats, or if you want to use YouTube for shorts. Posts, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, all of the platforms. You create curated content. And then you've also got live streaming. So YouTube Live, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can stream live and speak directly to your audience and encourage them by interacting with you by posting questions and comments, similar to how we're running today's session. Get involved, post a comment, all of those things. So now again, it's your turn. What kinds of content appeals to your target audience? What message do you want to communicate? And what's your visual look and feel? And just to point out at this stage is that try not to have your products and services in mind when you answer these questions. Think specifically about your brand. As I mentioned, your products and services are an extension of your brand. So what you're looking for is to develop the brand. Who are we? Who am I? What do we stand for? What do we look like? What do we share? What do we value? What kind of content do we put out there? Who are we trying to work with? What do they need to know? And once you're in that position, you develop your branding around that. You can then see whether or not your products and services are consistent with that brand. And if not, you adapt them. But if you try to pigeonhole yourself into creating a brand around an existing product or service, you may actually be doing yourself a disservice by pushing yourself down a route that may not be completely reflective of who you are or who your business is. Okay, so any last questions before we wrap up? I don't think we have. I don't think we have any questions. No, so we will wrap up. So, what are your next steps? Based on this session, based on what you've learned about your personal brand, your online presence, your digital footprint, and all of those kind of things, what are you going to do next? First thing I would definitely recommend is for you to click the link later, come back and pause at the specific sections where I asked you to do specific activities so that you can really think about what your personal brand is, who your target audience is, what your goal is going to be, and how you can measure success. Then start to think about how the existing products and services that you have align to that brand and what kind of changes that you would be willing to make based on that. Again, if you happen to be a small business in the UK or a charity based in the UK, please do feel free to sign up for our mentoring. We'll drop a link into the chat for you. And this will be an opportunity for you to sit with one of us for an hour on Google Meet and just talk about your business, what ideas you have, what stumbling blocks you may have, and get some additional resources that will help you moving forward. In the meantime, please do let us know what your feedback is. This is the best way for us to know whether or not the sessions that we're running are helpful and are covering some of the topics that you want. So please do drop your feedback using the link that we posted into the chat for you, and let us know how you found it. Thank you all again for joining today. Thank you for your questions and your comments. And I hope it's been a useful dive into build your personal brand online today. As I mentioned at the beginning, if you are interested in more training from Google Digital Garage, there are a few different ways that you can continue learning. We're running many more different Google Digital Garage webinars in a variety of subjects, as I mentioned. So please do visit our website, check to see what other webinars are coming up and sign up for those as well. And if you'd like to carry on learning in your own time, we also have a number of online courses, including career certificates, which will help you to learn other skills such as digital marketing, UX design, IT support, etc. So thanks again for joining today. We look forward to welcome you again to another Google Digital Garage training session soon. Have absolutely a lovely day. Take care. Bye-bye.